Hello, this is High Templar with my new Total War Warhammer Mechanics video, and today we'll be talking about charging, charge bonus and cycle charging. So this is something that I've been doing for some time already. My first mechanics video was about the same thing in Rome 2, a bit more specific, and I will do the same test, but let's start with what charging is. So this is a unit that is running at the dwarves and has a charge bonus of 23. Also has melee attack of 36 and weapon strength of 30. Those guys have attack of 30, so almost the same, but their melee defense is much greater. And because of their armor and because of their higher stats, they should be able to handle those gore very well. This is my Beast Lord. He is actually having very large stats and charge bonus of 52 compared to this Lord, who has also very large stats but charge bonus of 18 only. And this guy has a charge defense versus all, but that works only if you stay in one place. So firstly, my guys are charging in. See, this guy is running towards my lord. And the first few seconds of the engagement I lose 2 gores and those guys haven't lost a Longbeard, but if you look at the health, you would see that the Longbeards are losing health, and the same seems to be the case here. This Lord, even with the armor, lost quite some health, but it seems that the blue guys are winning, are they? If you look at this, you would see that it is actually in melee combat even. But after a few seconds, it seems quite visible that the Longbeards are actually losing ever so slightly, but still. And my Beast Lord is winning quite significantly on the health. Now my Lord is winning. The combat bonus actually lasts for 30 seconds. At the beginning it might not be visible. And those gores are still in even combat, even though their stats were quite less impressive than the Longbeards. They can put up an even fight. But the combat bonus only starts in the fight for 30 seconds and then it dissipates. So my lord is not winning anymore. He's in even combat right now. Unfortunately, he will be able to deal enough of the damage to have upper hand on his enemy. Here, however, my Goreherd unit is losing already. And it will be losing more and more drastically. And you see here that while the Longbeards have won, while the Longbeards have won, the Lord actually lost. And should he be standing still? He wouldn't, because of the massive 52 charge bonus that was added by my Lord. So it seems to be what you haven't seen about the charge bonus is that the moment the charge bonus is being applied, it dissipates slowly on a unit. So firstly my lord was winning, then it was even, then the fight was even, then he was, the lord actually weren't going to losing. But your units can go down to losing if their stats were lessened, like my gore unit there. it was going to losing, and it was losing more and more decisively because the charge bonus has dissipated. That was a charge bonus of 22. Now, those guys, cavalry units, have a charge bonus of 80 or 42. 42 is cav units, melee cav units, and those guys are shock cav. They have a very large charge bonus. They are quite more expensive. In this case, only 100 of a difference, but the shock cav has lesser stats, melee attack and melee defense of 38 and 34, whereas those guys have 42 and 50. Apart from that, they are the same. So, if the charge bonus stays for some time and dissipates, how long should you stay in the combat for the best charge bonus to be applied? Let's see that. Because those units have a high charge bonus, I will do the following. I will cycle charge very fast with these Chaos Knights and those Chaos Knights with Lances, so melee cav and shock cav units, first in the rows. Cycle charge very fast, staying there for 1 second, doing an impact damage from the charge. Then I will, next units, this one and this one, I will stay for 10 seconds to apply impact charge and some charge bonus and then retreat. And with the last units, I will just go in all the way. And let's see how this will work out. Already retreating. Now, if you notice this situation, you would see that those two Chaos Knights with Lances got trapped here. Here, there is also one Chaos Knight that is trapped, but you can see that in the first 10 seconds of the combat, those units got some damage, but not great. And this is to be expected because those Chaos Knights with Lances don't actually have that large charge bonus or the mass. Yes, they do have great mass, but the shock cav units always have more mass. The Chaos Knights that stayed in the combat dealt quite much more damage, and they will be retreating any second soon. Similarly, like those knights, because this is a first charge, right? Then we have Chaos Knight with Lances that retreated at the start. You can see that the damage they done was much greater, but this is to be expected. But so is the damage done by those units. For example, here the knights of the unit that stayed dealt up to 6700 damage, when the Lances unit deal all the way up to 6000 here. Yeah. So let's just see how those units will work out for us. Already retreating with the next unit, and you could see that those guys were already wavering for a second there after the charge from Chaos Knight with Lances. Now, as you can see, one guy is already lost with the fast cycle charges because he was trapped behind the enemy lines. In this case, those guys haven't lost. So this is somewhat... that can happen to you. There is nothing you can do about it. But you can already see that the unit that stayed, the unit that cycle charge here, dealt already more units than the unit that stayed. Right? And the unit that's cycle charging a lot is actually dealing less damage, and this is different from round 2, for example, when the cycle charging very fast was best option for any cav unit. But still, you can see the difference between fast cycle charging with melee cav unit and fast cycle charging between with the shock cav unit. Quite more of a damage is being dealt by 2000. Well, 1500, but still. Right now, this unit that stayed in the combat, prolonged combat, this is melee cav unit, it has got down this unit of Grave Guards all the way down to 4,500, whereas this unit with lances 3,400. So still the lances unit dealt more damage because initial damage was quite substantial, but they lost 6 knights, whereas those guys lost only single knight and almost no health. The cycle charging unit here, no health, no lost knights. This unit was a bit unlucky and got 58. So 2 knights were lost here. Neither of those units lost any knights because that is something that just bad luck. I'm doing a bit too long charge cycles. Those guys are going way too far. But still, what we can see here is that the melee cav unit managed to go through the ordeal with 1 guy lost, pretty much no losses. Those guys suffered quite some damage actually, but they managed to take down this unit of Grave Guards. But you can see that the difference between the 2 units right now is lessened and lessened. There is only 600 of a difference right now, because those guys are actually performing very well in prolonged combat, whereas they are not performing that well in cycle charging. This is a melee cav. And this unit actually performing as well in staying combat than with cycle charging for 10 seconds. Whereas the cycle charging unit of Chaos Knights already destroyed the Grave Guards. The cycle charging fastly, yeah, well, they are doing wellish, but not great. They lost 3 men already. Those guys haven't lost a single guy. And this unit that charged here, this is staying combat, as I showed you. This unit is already wavering, and there is actually similar health on both of this unit. So it makes sense to cycle charge with Chaos Knights. Even if that will be doing slightly less damage, it will still make sense. Here obviously only the unit that is still engaged in prolonged combat is doing not the best. And here, as you can see, similar performance on both of these units. Almost no health on these Grave Guards. Very similar performance, but those guys have 57 and those guys have 58, and there is more health on this unit obviously because it was cycle charging. So it makes sense to cycle charge and stay in combat for about 10 seconds. Now as you have seen from this movie, the Chaos Knights with lances were performing quite outstanding, quite better than the normal unit. So let's see if it even makes sense to bring Chaos Knight with lances. So firstly, a quick test. Chaos Knight without lances. Your melee cav. Does it make sense to bring them in the battlefield? Well, most cav in the Warhammer, Total War Warhammer will actually be a shock cav, because that was most common in medieval times. So I'm charging my Chaos Knights against those knights with lances. Those guys will change their way of the attack, and they charge me, counter-charge me. So 6,800 health on this unit, only 64 on mine, 64.5, but still. There is quite a lot of difference in the fight, and my guys are in even combat right now. That will change in a few seconds. now my guys are losing. And there is already 400 more of a difference. And that was not a best charge on Chaos Knight with Lances. My guys are losing at the start. But as the combat prolongs, these guys are now in even melee combat. And they are starting to even out. And after more combat, my guys are winning and those guys are losing. This is this charge bonus that is being applied over some time, but the effect is being lessened and lessened, and my guys will be winning more and more decisively each second. And as you can see, the end result is quite impressive, with 32 Knight with Lances still alive. And the other way around, it will work the same, because I already made the video that the AI can't charge, so maybe they lost because they didn't perform the best charge. So let's see how it will work out if I will be leading the Chaos Knight with Lances. And this is the same test. Now I'm leading the Chaos Knight with Lances, getting into those guys. And 6300, 6400, but after a few seconds, it's 5800 and 6200. So as you can see, already 500 of a difference in health between those units. And those guys lost 4 knights when I lost 1, and I'm winning the combat slightly. But after some time, it's even combat, and those guys is 52 against 53, and the health difference is melting. And after some time, my guys are starting to lose. It's still saying that it's even combat. Oh, now it's losing slightly, but as you can see, my guys are losing more health than those guys, and quite significantly. And that was the best charge I could manage, but still my guys are performing worse and worse with each moment, and there is still 31 knights on this unit of AI unit. And when my main break, there is still 27 Chaos Knights, not much health on them, but if they charge in the back of the enemy with the white formation, they will do quite significant damage. So there is still a place on the battlefield for the melee cav, and this is taking prolonged combat and taking out the other cav units that have similar stats, obviously. If you are facing a Blood Knights or the Boar Boy Biguns, they have bonus versus large and they will perform much better, and they will crush you in seconds because of this massive charge bonus that they have. And they would have to fight the Chaos Knight with Lances, which are quite more expensive, to lose like that. So yeah, that's all. I hope you did liked it. If you did, press like, if you comment if you will, and see my other Total War Warhammer Mechanics videos, my DLC speculation videos, but also my Let's Plays for Total War series, but also different games. Thank you for watching, and see you later.